Good question, Marky. The biggest challenge in my judgment is our poorly educated young people. I'm blessed to have a high school diploma from Jesuit New Orleans, a bachelor's and master's from Tulane, and in a family environment growing up which valued education. Today, too many kids drop out. How do we change that? Well, we have this foolish, antiquated notion where we require algebra to get a high school diploma. A couple states have done away with that. 1 out of 100, less than 1 out of 100 minorities ever uses algebra in his or her career, and only about 3.8% of white high school students. We ought to teach business math. What I used to teach at Delgado, another thing, fractions, percentages, decimals, interest on a loan. Why do you get a loan? How to avoid payday loans. Kill people, financially speaking. We don't do a very good job. We're not consistent. We require something that is very seldom used. It should be an option. What should be required is business math, not algebra and then geometry. More people drop out of high school because they cannot handle algebra or geometry than any other reason. So we're starting them off without even a GED. That's silly. And so the biggest thing to help economic development, get rid of the algebraic requirement, include business math as a requirement, include a little more civics so they learn about our history and our country and the founding. And then from there, businessmen and women would have more educated young people to hire on into their firms who don't have to be. It must be frustrating for a business person to hire somebody who may have a high school diploma and then find out he or she is barely functionally literate, or not everybody's had 22 hours of college calculus like I have. Our youngest is Joey, is a professional engineer, civil, structural, down in Lafayette or Youngsville. Math in our family came pretty easily. My brother's a mathematician. I have nieces, nephews who are engineers. My brother-in-law is an engineer. So I understand how algebra is important to engineers, because from there you go to geometry, trig, calculus. But my goodness, why do we mandate by state law that everybody have to pass courses which very few are ever going to use? I don't know. A few progressive states have done away with algebra as an absolute requirement, and geometry, and it's still offered. And if that young person is a science geek and wants to be a physicist or a chemist, he or she better take algebra. But let's stop mandating it for the majority of our young people who studies show they just don't ever need it. Thank you for that question.